This is a short story, Burnt Out. I am a matchbox. I came off the assembly line of the Cherepovets factory on October 26, 2025. I contained 55 matches inside me. I was shipped for sale to the warehouse of one of the supermarkets in a megacity. I was purchased by a certain Elena Mironova on October 30th of the same year. I remained part of the packaging for another 10 days, until a boy named Alec, at his mother's request, took me out and placed me on the kitchen table. From that moment, my personal journey through the vast world of the kitchen began. At first, there was a scratch table standing against the wall, and it seemed like a wide field for all kinds of undertakings. Diagonally to the left stretched forests and gardens formed by a bouquet of flowers and a bowl of fruit. I lay humbly near the edge and studied the enormous jars, boxes of salt and spices, packages of pasta and sweets, and then, quite suddenly, I was snatched up in a hand and the first match was pulled from me. It was thrilling. I felt needed, useful. With that match, my own native part, they lit the gas stove. The fire was mesmerizing. The blue flame trembled in petal-like tongues, forming a wondrous pattern. I was afraid to lie so close to the stove and feel the heat of the flame along my right side, and that only deepened my awe of fire. I stayed there until I was tossed into the dark drawer of the table. There were many crumbs there, as well as forgotten paper clips, toothpicks, a couple of screws, and clumps of dust. I lay quietly, unable to imagine how moments, seconds, minutes passed. Sounds reached me. Rustlings and noises that turned into a cat's play, then into the quarrel of tense voices, then into children's laughter giving way to crying. I heard someone coughing, talking a lot in a creaky voice, reasoning about things of little interest to me, and then coughing again. After some time, I counted about 10 hours, I was brought back into the light. I was needed again. Someone wanted to strike a match once more. They were rough, aged hands. They trembled noticeably. The old man was either nervous or barely in control of his fingers, or both. He used 3 whole matches before he managed to light his cigarette. I examined him in the dim light of a floor lamp. A blue undershirt, from beneath which gray hairs protruded on his sunken chest. His dry hands were also covered with fine pale hairs. His face was gloomy, yet through that gloom broke a ray of joy. Warm like the flame of my match, bright like a child's dream. I noticed the corners of the old man's lips curve into a smile when he took his first drag and set me down on the table. How good he must feel right now, I thought. And then the old man began to cough. Cough violently, tearingly. A bright light came on. The very same Elena Mironova entered the room. "Dad." Again. In her voice, there was not only condemnation and righteous anger, but genuine worry as well. "Daughter." The old man's voice was full of irritation. "Just a couple of puffs, and that's it." "What couple? You've already managed to light a second one." "Cha." "Dad, you've only been out of the hospital for 2 days, and you're already breaking the rules. If you don't care about yourself, think about your grandson. About me." The woman swept me and my neighbor, the pack of cigarettes, off the table and, to the old man's indignant protests, threw the cigarettes into the trash. As for me, she hurled me back into the drawer. From there I could still hear them arguing. People that night. I never understood whether it was care or a need to quarrel, an irresistible craving or fear in the morning. I no longer heard that fiery emotion in their voices. There was only weariness, mixed with faint rays of timid concern. Over the next 2 weeks, I was used as intended. 1 match. The gas burner flared up. Another match. Gas again a 3rd time, a 4th. During those days, 40 matches were taken from my belly. I was proud of myself. I was helping. I was working. No one took out cigarettes anymore, and I heard no more talk of them. I traveled from the drawer to the table, sometimes peering into other corners of the unimaginably large kitchen. Once the cat Mazia, playing with me, drove me under a cabinet. By his mother's command, The boy Alec spent a full 3 minutes fishing me out with a mop and cleaning off the dust. There was also a time when I lay on a shelf and could enjoy the elegance and precision of the edges of a pair of baking soda boxes. Beauty. But perhaps the most incredible moment happened toward the end of November. That day the old man lit the stove and did not return me to the drawer, but carelessly placed me on the windowsill of a huge window. And from there a panorama of the rainy street opened before me. I had suspected before that the kitchen was not the limit of existence, but on that day on the windowsill I understood. I was extraordinarily, almost comically small. The world beyond the window rushed like a noisy river of cars, spun through the streets with open umbrellas, clung to its being by the tips of yellow leaf stems, howled with gusts of autumn wind. How frightening and exhilarating it was to find myself facing that world, yet I did not feel the fear fully. I felt only trembling awe. Yes, a matchbox that has grasped the existence of physical and ephemeral phenomena. It happens. Accept it. I did. The rain tapped against the glass with its drops until evening, and I never stopped marveling. The problem was that only 13 matches remained inside me. When they ran out, obviously, I would be thrown away, and what would happen next, I did not know. I could only guess, but those guesses were dispelled one day by the boy Alec. It seems it was a Wednesday. After the morning lighting of the stove, I was sent back into the drawer, but before that I managed to notice that the weather outside was sunny, and I liked that. After breakfast, only the old man remained in the kitchen. From his muttering and periodic coughing I understood that he was reading. And then the boy came. "Grandpa, can I take the matches?" he asked. "What for?" "We'll play outside with the guys." I sensed the slyness in the child's voice. "Matches aren't toys. Don't touch them." I heard footsteps receding. First the boy left. Then the old man left the room as well. And a couple of minutes later, children's hands still pulled me out of the drawer. He didn't listen to his grandfather. But I was only in anticipation, because I realized Alec was taking me outside. At last, I would see the world not through glass. I was clenched in a small fist. I saw cracked asphalt, dried after the rain, saw withered grass, a cat darting past a spinning carousel. Other children sat on it. "So, did you bring it?" they asked Alec. "Yeah, here." He handed me to another boy. The boy smirked and took me. "Watch and learn, school kids, how it's done." With an experienced hand, a match was pulled from my belly. I was immediately tossed onto the floor of the carousel, and something was lit with the match. "Stand back." There was a hiss, then a powerful bang. "Awesome. Holy crap." The children were delighted by the firecracker. "So who wants to try now?" Me. Boys and girls rushed together toward the pack of firecrackers lying next to me and toward me as well. Utter chaos began. My fellow matchbox and I passed from hand to hand. We were thrown to each other, tossed underfoot. One match, one firecracker, then another and another. A bang on the playground, laughter, shrieks. A bang under a car, an alarm. Then several bangs on the sidewalk, swearing. In the end, I was thrown onto a bench. I never saw the pack of firecrackers again, and the children were scattered by an adult man who came out into the yard. I was left alone. I realized that inside me there were only 2 matches left, and I also felt that my sides were badly worn. I was slightly crushed and almost good for nothing. Oh, those humans. Chaos. Noise. I was almost burned out. One might say I was tired, if such utilitarian things as I can even grow tired. And really, what was I doing here, on this bench? Could I still be of any use to someone? That thought was erased by nature itself. For, left alone on the bench, I suddenly began to notice things that had previously gone unseen. For example, my attention was first drawn to the small chips and notches in the wooden planks of the bench. I began to examine them. A beautiful pattern emerged from these cracks and the peeling paint. One could imagine the boards as fields, and the chips as branching rivers that eventually flowed into a lake, a fragment of paint. I was, in a sense, a traveler, a pioneer of these imagined lands. A simple object, yet not devoid of imagination. For only in this way could I now understand how far a ray of sunlight could stretch, how a current of air could wander away, how water could flow in streams. Then, quite suddenly, I shifted my attention from the bench to a tree growing nearby and decided to study its trunk. And it was simply magnificent. Arithmetically harmonious, geometrically proportional, and outrageously elegant. The lines of thick bark converged, parted, and crossed again, reaching toward the finest twigs. And they are leaves. Yellow, nearly fallen, still clinging. And thousands more just like them, already scattered across the asphalt and the ground. What a beautiful carpet lay below. And the sky above, still blue over me for now. But in the distance, clouds were swelling again. No matter, that was far away. For now, I was enjoying a warm autumn day. Could it really be so good for a matchbox? It was for me. Very good. I drifted into reverie. That was why I did not immediately realize how dirty fingers grabbed me from the bench. They opened me and, having made sure there were matches inside, slipped me into a pocket. It was cramped and dark there. If I were capable of sensing smells, I would surely have said it stank as well. But after all, I had already learned to imagine the world without human sight, so I could reason about smells too. I lay in that pocket until evening, and when the new person in my short life took me out, I realized I was somewhere near water. Just a couple of meters away, a stream was murmuring. It carried both coolness and a faint rot, surely one of the hundreds of open, concreted drainage channels. In the evening darkness, I felt hands take me and pull out a match. There was a strike, but no bright flame appeared. Instead, curses. "Ah, you useless old stump. My hands won't obey me anymore. I can't even light a little fire." The voice was not as aged and broken as Alex's grandfather's, yet certainly not young or lively either. To be honest, the self-reproach of the homeless man who had carried me off to one of the city's semi-abandoned hollows did little to comfort me. For inside, only one match remained. I wanted so badly to protest. "Man, this is your last chance to use me, to enjoy the warmth my match can give you. Don't mess it up." He took out the match and, spitting on his fingers, struck again. The flame flared up, only to almost die from a gust of wind. Cursing himself once more, the homeless man shielded the match with his hand and brought it to a pile of something, leaves or trash, lying in a shallow hollow in the ground. The fire caught after a few moments. The weak flame was fed by gathered dry brush. And finally the fire rose half a meter high, crackling contentedly and licking leaves, branches, and dirty rags. In the firelight, I saw the man. Of course, he was unkempt, dirty, overgrown, just as people in the bright kitchen described the homeless. So I was not surprised. And almost immediately, I shifted my attention from the man to a far more significant fact for me. There were no matches left inside me. So I had fulfilled my purpose? Helped as best I could? That's what people say, isn't it? And what now? A small matchbox is a very useful and very simple thing by nature. What comes next? The homeless man soon provided an answer. I lay on a small board and quickly felt a weight pressed down on me. Having lit the fire, the man immediately began cooking something on it, moving around the flames. At the same time, he was chewing a simple sandwich of bread and sausage. The pressure on my body, that was the homeless man hurriedly placing a piece of the sandwich on me. Sausage side down, this is all rather strange, I thought as I soaked up the juices of the meat product. But I was not allowed to pursue the thought further. Very close to me, a pitch-black crow cawed, landing on the edge of the board. It must have smelled the sausage and decided to feast. "Shoo! Shoo!" the man shouted from the other end of his small camp. The crow beat its mighty wings and vanished into the darkness. But not before snatching the sandwich along with me. Damn it! My last sausage. I heard the homeless man's rapidly fading voice, catching a glimpse of his furious face and hands raised to the black sky. We did not fly for long with the sandwich in the crow's beak. The bird crossed over a lit highway and landed on the branch of a huge poplar just a couple of 100 meters from the man's dwelling. In the darkness, I could see that the tree had not yet shed all its leaves. A yellow-green wall separated the bird's nest from city life. Below, cars rushed along the highway, people hurrying home. And here, at the height of a 5th floor, was the home of the bird and its family. A male flew out to meet her, and 3 chicks waited in the nest. The crows quickly began tearing the sandwich apart. They caught hold of me as well, ripping the cardboard corners, claws scraping across the label and the striking sides. I barely survived that encounter. The wind helped. First, a strong gust swayed the branches, forcing the crow to loosen her grip to keep balance. Then the wind unleashed a full squall, and the adult birds abandoned their home for a while. To the cries of the chicks, I slipped from her grasp and began falling toward the ground. On the way down, I bounced several times off branches and trunks. I got stuck 2 meters above the sidewalk, caught among leaves. And once again the roaming wind tore me free and hurled me onto the shoulder of the noisy road. It was dirty there, but somehow safer, more stable. Cigarette butts nearby, withered leaves, a few shards of glass. I suppose it was a typical sidewalk verge. This stretch of road was lit by a street lamp. And at some point, I even felt cozy. Lying there, doing nothing, bothering no one. Could it really be this nice? But then a cat darted out of the darkness onto the asphalt. It sniffed me. Apparently the smell of sausage attracted it. The cat, gray and grimy, chewed on me a bit, but realizing I was inedible, tossed me onto the sidewalk. Then the animal decided to play with its new toy, but this nearly ended in tragedy. In a burst of playfulness, the cat ended up on the roadway and narrowly avoided being crushed by a speeding truck. The poor creature instantly vanished back into the darkness from which it had emerged. And once again, I was left among the trash. That was when the thought came, I was one of it now. Used goods. Garbage. Even my label was almost gone. What was I? A simple thing. Or, strange thinking is strange. The thought was interrupted by a drop falling from above so suddenly that I did not immediately feel the cold water soaking into my dense paper. Another drop and another and another. Rain. I'll soak through, I realized, yet for some reason I felt neither fear nor surprise. The drops kept falling, pouring from the black bucket of the sky. I lay there and stared into the dark haze above me, trying to understand whether tiny stars existed beyond the veil. I had only heard of them before. What do they look like? Those little lights? Like sparks from a fire? Like bulbs in a chandelier? But the clouds were silent and offered no answers. The rain was not heavy, but it lasted until dawn. I became soaked and swollen. The glue barely held the cardboard elements together. I thought this was the end. But no. When the sun lit the asphalt of the sidewalk, the rain subsided. The first bright rays dried my body. And a little later, a street sweeper came by. He silently swept me, the cigarette butts, shards of glass, and other trash into a pile and dumped it into a container. And sometime after that, the overfilled bin was emptied into a garbage truck. Heavily compressed together with my fellow travelers of utilitarian life, I suddenly realized that I could become part of something larger. They were taking us to a landfill, I think that's what people called it. I will be integrated into a vast system of waste. Is that my new role? Throughout the journey, I tried to more clearly imagine what my new task might be. I thought about it during the unloading of trash at some facility and on the conveyor belt. But what was this? Hands and rubber gloves suddenly separated me from my new neighbors. Why? Only a couple of minutes later did I realize that directly above the conveyor belt was written, "Sorting Facility." I was picked up and transferred into a bin where lay similarly chewed up by life cardboard boxes, sheets of office paper, scribbled notebooks, and other waste paper. Wow, I thought. So I'm going to be recycled. A new life for an ordinary thing like me. Is that really possible? Will I become a matchbox again, or something else? Will my eye remain? Will I be useful again? Do people remember such simple things as me? Or are they ready to discard the memory of me? Am I myself ready for transformation? Questions swarmed and multiplied. It was strange and thrilling at the same time. And now I lie in the bin, filled with all kinds of feelings. All that remains is to wait. Any moment now, one of the workers should move this pile of dirty paper into the recycling workshop. And then,